morning. It is Scott Cullen, editor-in-chief of the Kanata Report, back with you again for Fridays with Frank. And before I bring Frank out, along with his special guest, I want to remind everybody to please like and subscribe. And now, Frank, what's on your mind this morning? And I cannot wait to meet your special guest.
Scott, we're doing just fine. And I think our audience is going to enjoy very much our special guest because he's addressing a pretty heavy topic that many people are talking about. And he's, I think, the perfect person to have on. So allow me to introduce Charlie Brewer from Actionable Intelligence. How are you, Charlie?
Doing well, Frank. Thanks a lot for inviting me today.
The big question as today in our industry is about Ninestar, and what I think can benefit our followers is your views on the background of what is actually happening with Ninestar, and what their response has been to the allegations.
So, I think like the rest of the industry, we were completely surprised by this. We got the news on June 9th, and, we had, I have followed just in the papers and the news what's going on with Uyghurs, but I had no idea that anything was happening in our industry. So we got word on the 9th that Department of Homeland Security, DHS, had put Ninestar and 8 of its subsidiaries on the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Entities list. And that as a result of that, the products from these companies would be embargoed from the US, and that actually went into effect on June 12th. Some of the companies we know, some of the companies we don't. So if you ever look at Ninestar's org chart, it's very, very complicated. They own a number of subsidiaries in China as well as in the US and Europe. So that they named, only 8 subsidiaries in Ninestar Corp itself was kind of interesting. So you asked about what the response has been so far as of today. The response has been pretty muted. This is a $3.7 billion company, and their largest subsidiary, Lexmark International, is in the U.S. And so the U.S. market is very important to them. And to have been as quiet as they've been, it's been rather surprising. It's been 3 weeks since we got the news. All we've seen from Ninestar itself is one Chinese language announcement that went out to the Shenzhen Stock Exchange. And then we contacted Ninestar. We have a lot of contacts there. And they just referred us back to that statement. So that's all we've heard from Ninestar. We've seen a couple of different statements from Lexmark, but as far as Ninestar goes, it's just been the one. With that said, I as of this morning, we did see a statement from RT Media. RT Media is a news service that's based in Zhuhai. And in a lot of ways, we could see this as kind of a surrogate for Ninestar. There's no way that RT would say anything without it being vetted by Ninestar. And, to be honest with you, they didn't really say much other than to blame this on politics and trade. They will not address the Uyghur situation, which is very common for the Chinese. The Chinese say that there is no forced labor. So I think that they're following the party line on that. The one other thing maybe I should add, Frank, is that we don't know a lot about this list. We don't know. It's new. It went into effect last year, and but our understanding is that this is an embargo. This is very, very different than any of the bans that we've seen, like from the ITC or anything like that. This is every product that they make. This is not just certain patents or IP or something like that. This is every single product that they make. We think it's going to take a long time for this to get resolved, if in fact Ninestar can get off the list.
Charlie, there's a lot of mixed messages out there. In our discussions with people at HP, they referred to that the big part of the problem with those that are relying on Ninestar product is parts. I thought that was an interesting statement. And they may have some knowledge that none of us do. The other thing is that we've worked closely with Lexmark for years, and they've been always been very candid with us. And I know CJ had great conversations with them, and they say it hasn't impacted them. So it's hard to discern. But let me ask you, how do you think this is going to impact the dealers in the United States?
I think the impact could be profound. I'm not sure exactly what parts HP is referring to, but as you and your audience may know, Ninestar does put out a significant amount of chips that are used on cartridges. We think that they have somewhere between 80 and 85% market share for third-party cartridges worldwide, and they've made a big investment in that business. With that said, this could affect reman and new build alike, because if there aren't a lot of chip manufacturers left anymore, Apex has either acquired them or has been able to, effectively put them out of business. So, I can see that would be a problem. We're looking, we're looking from the outside in. One of the things we've been following is the availability of finished cartridges on places like Amazon and Walmart, and we don't see any impact at all. So far, you may not know this, but Ninestar has a number of different brands that it markets on Amazon. And so Lamaro, My Cartridge, and any number of other brands. And we see all of those are still available as far as we can tell. We looked at the Lexmark site. They have their Go series of machines, and there were some Go series machines that were out of stock. We would expect to see that because we think that Go series is based on the Phantom engine, and Phantom is one of the companies that has been restricted. So we'll have to see. Again, it's early days, right? It's only been 3 weeks, but I wouldn't be surprised, especially that Go line. Now, one of the things that we see in import-export records is that it does seem like Lexmark is shifting its suppliers. There are a couple of what I'm assuming are contract manufacturers in China that are now supplying Lexmark with things like paper carriers, transports, things like that. So and just to kind of follow on that, a couple of weeks ago, it's just had nothing to do with this case, but back in April, Lexmark had petitioned customs to be able to allow their machines to be marked as originating in Mexico. And customs said, no, you have to have it originating in China because so many of the essential components and assemblies within the machines are coming from China. So again, if that's the case, and they were all originating either at Phantom or one of the other banned companies, you would expect that would have some impact on Lexmark.
Yeah.
And then, again, I think we all know over the last couple of years just how difficult it is to change supply chain. So, if you have a hiccup in supply chain, that's not something that you could straighten out overnight. So we're watching it all very closely.
If Lexmark wants to go out and find other suppliers, who are the likely candidates that they can appeal to?
I mean, it's very limited. That Lexmark itself has always been an engine supplier, right, to other OEMs, as well as Samsung, but Samsung's gone now. I don't know that HP would, necessarily supply them with engines, but I think, Fuji's been around and they've been an engine supplier for a long time, so they would make sense. And maybe this would be an opportunity for Brother. Brother has a lot of office machines now. They've done a really good job in that market. The question would be, do they want to supply a competitor? And it's pretty low margin. And I know that Brother already probably has pretty low margins to begin with. So, would they want to get into that business? But it could be an opportunity for them.
Charlie, I thank you so much for joining us this morning. You've certainly given us a lot to chew on, and I want to thank you and look forward to seeing you at the next industry event.
Thanks, Frank. I'll make a plug for my website. You know, if people want to stay on top of this, we've already put out 6 articles, and I expect we're going to spend a lot of time this summer, you know, reading all about Ninestar and Lexmark and Uyghurs and everything else. So stay tuned.